Hello dear Pisces, and welcome to your September horoscope. The Sun and Mercury are both moving through your 7th house of partnerships and commitments as we begin the month. Relationships take center stage and become more serious, especially as Venus in Cancer represents beautiful romance for the first 5 days of the month. If you're unattached, the new moon on the 17th, with support from Saturn in your wish sector, could help you manifest a true equal or soulmate, so get specific on what you want or what direction you want your relationship to go. Before then, there is a beautiful full moon in your sign on the 2nd, which is aspecting Uranus, planet of surprises. You're about to surprise yourself and those around you, perhaps with a spark of genius, perhaps with an amazing psychic insight. Go ahead and make a prediction, because you usually have that kind of insight most of the time, but this time it's heightened. You may see something you wished for back in February finally come true and to fruition. You have been working really hard, and finally you'll see some kind of results. Venus moves into Leo, your 6th house of work, and your day-to-day work may improve. You may find more helpful connections, and the work is really on an upswing. Venus will make a beautiful connection with Mars in your financial sector at the end of the month, which likely blesses you with financial abundance and confidence to make things happen. Mars does go retrograde on the 9th of September in your 2nd house. Time to have a rethink about money and work through some blocks that you might have. Your relationship with money is important. It's really just energy after all, but we often associate it with corruption and greed. But with Mars in your sector of finance for an extended time, Pisces, the universe really would like you to realize you deserve abundance and blessings. You have wonderful creative ideas, and it's time to share them. To withhold them, now that would be greedy. Jupiter, your ancient ruler, is finally going direct in your 11th house of wishes, and you may notice that stagnant or slow moving manifestations finally start to take off. If you've been feeling isolated or lonely, you'll notice that friendships and community efforts start to become easier, and new friendships that start between now and December may bring you good luck, so be open to new connections. The Sun trines Jupiter on the 9th of September, and this is a beautiful day for relationships and wishes. So do embrace this positive energy, especially with partnerships, and watch out for some clues from the universe about what direction to go. So thank you for joining me for the September astrology, Pisces. If you want to continue with the tarot aspect of things, just stay tuned. Please subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the tarot. Have a wonderful month, Pisces. Bye. Hi Pisces, welcome to the tarot reading for September 2020 for your sign. I hope you all enjoyed the astrology video at the start. The show reel was a little bit different, trying something new. Let me know what you thought about it. So Pisces, let's get into your tarot for the month ahead and see what we get. The Chariot. Interesting energy. So first and foremost, we have a bit of velocity, we have a bit of movement, and we have a bit of va-va-voom. You're going in a certain direction, and you're starting to pick up a bit of speed. This makes sense. Jupiter is going direct in your 11th house. Princess of Cups and the 7 of Pentacles. Beautiful. So what you're going towards is something that is quite sentimental. It's quite dear to your heart, and it is quite fragile. Interesting. The Chariot, Page of Cups, and the 7 of Pentacles. Let's begin with this row first and foremost. So we begin the month with that speed, but it's important to remember that you're not necessarily going for the finish line. This is something that you want to savor. This is something that you want to indulge in. This is something that you want to last. So as much as you want things to move forward quickly, especially if it's love or if it's creative, you have to remember that this requires nurturing, and it requires time to grow. You cannot force anything. And the beauty of this hand is that you do not have to force anything that is truly meant to be. I think a lot of you want to be at a certain point For a lot of you, it is wanting to be somewhere in your love life, but for others of you, it's something more that you've put your heart into, because you do put your heart into things, you know, no matter what it is. So love readings for Pisces oftentimes are very fluid. They're very much about where you're putting your heart in general. And for you, Pisces, the Page of Cups is a card that I would associate most with your energy. It occurs for people with Pisces in their chart, Sun, Moon, Venus, or rising. And I think for you, there is someone that is either very much of the same mentality, someone quite sweet, someone quite vulnerable, someone quite sensitive, someone quite honest, or this is your energy and you're learning how to take better care of it. Whatever it is, I feel that there's something that's quite vulnerable, it's quite delicate, it's almost like a flower. And you see with the watering can here, she's watering it to make sure that it is savoured, to make sure that it lasts, to make sure that it survives, to make sure that it has all the care that it needs. Because as much as anything in life can be meant to be, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't take care of it. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't look after it. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't put in a bit of effort. Let's have another look. 5 of Pentacles. There are some concerns. There's some worries, particularly surrounding money, but there is, for me, with the 5 of Pentacles, King of Swords, Knight of Swords. So the air signs are showing up quite heavily in your reading. The 5 of Pentacles with the King of Swords and the Knight of Swords can be when you're trying to fit into a world that just doesn't think or feel the same way that you do. Or trying to fit in with people that don't think or feel the same way that you do, Pisces. With the 5 of Pentacles and the King of Swords, for many of you, this is the corporate Pisces. This is the Pisces that tries to move among corporations, tries to fit in with the mentality, tries to work with only numbers. And for many Pisces, you know, depending on your chart, yes, that can work, but it's quite rare. It's quite rare to see you totally fulfilled in those environments. And with the King of Swords and the Knight of Swords, I think for a lot of you, Hierophant, you are working through some blockages to your own emotion. Because it's funny how when we were working through very much your energies here, it was full of colour. And then we get into a very blue state where the fear generates results. Okay. King of Swords, Knight of Swords. If you're dealing with an air sign, I think there's a little bit of... 3 of Wands. If you're dealing with an air sign, I think there is a little bit of hesitancy on your part, a little bit of fear, a little bit of anxiousness, a little bit of... 8 of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Okay. Queen of Wands. Okay, I just wanted to clarify. Yeah. Okie doke. Let's look at your cards properly now. Okay. So, we get the colour back. Lovely. Okay, so let's address the middle row. If you're dealing with an air sign, they are very firm in their beliefs. They're very sure of how things should be done, why things should be done a certain way. And if it's not an air sign, it's somebody who's quite stubborn. They're quite stubborn in their thinking. They know what they want and they know how to do it. You, on the other hand, are quite a fluid and compromising person with relationships. And I think that you're maybe wearing yourself a little bit thin with someone or something. But I think for a lot of you, this to me is looking like a career prospect or money prospect, material things. I feel that there's a lot of anxiety for you. And one of the things that I'm seeing, Pisces, in terms of your career, or in terms of any relationship that is feeling like it's not prospering, it's not prosperous. With the Seven of Pentacles followed by the 5, I feel that for some time now, possibly since Cancer season, you've been trying to kickstart something and you've been putting your feelings into it, you've been putting your emotions into it. In fact, in Leo season, I feel like you were really trying to fight for something as well. But I think for a long time, Pisces, as much as you feel like you thought you had the emotional side played out, you thought you had the spiritual side playing out, you feel like you were contributing from all angles, it's not flourished the way that you expected it to. And the reason for that, Pisces, is actually because Virgo season in particular will show you, in order for you to achieve anything, you need to tap into that Virgo energy. You need to tap into that practical side sometimes, or at least you need somebody in your work life to balance you out who is very practical, who is very detail oriented, and who sees the fine print. That's not necessarily how you work, but it doesn't mean that you don't need it. You know, the opposite signs in astrology is very much to do with seeing what energy you need to tap into to be successful, your opposite energy. That's kind of where your growth is, you know? So for you, Pisces, if you're wanting something to be successful, and anything can be successful, I'm not saying that just because you're a Pisces you can't survive or flourish in a particular environment. It just depends what energy you're bringing with it. In order for you to flourish, Pisces, you need to get a little bit more like the King of Swords or the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords would be, for me, a representation of confidence. Sure, sometimes he can be overconfident, sometimes he can be abrasive, sometimes he can be aggressive. The King of Swords to me would be a silent confidence, where you know what you're doing and you're very particular of it. And as much as your emotions are an internal guidance system, you do not let the negative ones override your action. So for a lot of you, I think you could be coming up against people with the Knight of Swords here that are very strong-willed and strong-minded, but it doesn't necessarily mean their confidence is secure. It could be brash, it could be showy. And I think for a lot of you in love as well, there could be, you know, in a relationship, someone who's really showing up as being very confident and maybe a little bit know-it-all, but really, I don't think they feel that way, really. That's kind of what I'm seeing here for you. So this also shows to me with the King of Swords and the Knight of Swords is someone who really wants to help you out, either financially or in career. Someone who wants to give you guidance, someone who wants to be a mentor of sorts. The King of Swords, believe it or not, as much as he can come across very cold, and I'm seeing him come up in your career, he's very smart. He often represents the intellectual, the person who can give really good advice, really good, strong career advice. They won't give it unless it's asked for. But I think it's an energy that can pull you out of this kind of, maybe I can't do this, maybe I'm not as good as these people, maybe I won't flourish here. You will flourish. You just have to tap into this energy first. Now with the Hierophant and the Three of Wands, this is making sure that the ships that are coming in have somewhere secure to dock. So what I mean by that with the Three of Wands, it's about opportunities on the horizon for you. It's a merchant card. These ships are coming in. But with the Hierophant, Pisces, I'm thinking that you need to make sure that you are welcoming in opportunities with a very secure mindset on what will happen, what boundaries will not be crossed, and what can happen going forward. So interestingly, for you, Pisces, there seems to be a lot of swift moving energy to begin the month, a little bit of backlog with doubt mid-month, because I see this happen a lot with most signs, to be honest, whenever things start to take off in a particular direction. And we will notice with the direct movement of some of the outer planets, but the retrograde of Mars, we will notice that there's a little bit of back and forth in terms of velocity. So I feel like you start to see it taking off, and then you feel a little bit like, ooh, maybe I've spent too much, maybe I've pinched the pennies kind of thing. And then, as we get towards Libra season, with the Knight of Wands, Eight of Wands, and the Queen of Wands, I feel like something is really taking off for you in projects, in love, in all areas really. With the Three of Wands, I see you as having many opportunities, and they are going to be swift. So with the Knight of Wands and the Eight of Wands, it's going to be very quick. And what you're being asked to do is then to tap into your passionate side. So you've got the details sorted, but then you need the passionate side. The Queen of Wands she's very witchy, actually. She's even sometimes more witchy than the Queen of Cups. She would be someone who's very into spirituality, manifestation. She would be someone who was on YouTube talking about the law of attraction, is what the Queen of Wands would be. That kind of thing. Really strong belief in the prosperity in the world, really strong belief in tapping into energies and resources, feeling like things are always set up for her. And with the Eight of Wands and the Queen of Wands, you can bet, Pisces, that things are going to take off really quickly. But you need to set a solid foundation. And the reason why is because with the Knight of Wands and the Eight of Wands, it's kind of like clay pigeon shooting. I'm saying clay pigeon because I'm very against shooting in any general sense with animals. It's just not right. Or in general, actually. It's not a big thing here. But you know, if a clay pigeon's shot into the air, it goes really, really, really fast. And if you're not paying attention or you're not prepared for it, it's just going to go past in the sky. Even the Knight of Wands, these spears, I feel like some things are actually going to be flying past you in the sky and you need to be ready to get them. And that's where the air sign energy comes in. You need to tap into that ability, Pisces, to be prepared, be ready, and be confident that you can meet your target. And I think you're going to do that. I really do. If you're dealing with fire sign people, I feel like it's going to take off really quite quickly, especially if it's a Leo. But it could be any of the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I feel like things could really take off, or you could be making travel plans, or you could be making pretty big moves. So I'm going to look at your oracle cards. I drew these off screen, so let's have a little look. Your animal spirit card for the month is the butterfly, which is really beautiful. The butterfly is very transformational. It's a metamorphosis. It's coming out of this cocoon. So I see you in here in your self-doubt of when it's going to happen, feeling a little bit in the dark about the energies surrounding you, but they will make sense when they appear. They will make sense when they appear. And only when you give in to enjoying the moment and not worrying about them do they become apparent to you. So your goddess guidance card was, I forgot about these, the true love card. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Page of Cups and the Chariot, as well as the fast moving energies here and the Hierophant. True love. So for a lot of you, you're feeling true love either in a romantic sense. I think for a lot of you it's romance. I really generally do with the true love card, the Guinevere card. Page of Cups oftentimes heralds a beginning of sorts, but for some of you this is just confirmation that you're with the right person, especially if it is Cancer or a fire sign. I think is coming up quite well aspected here. We will go more into the signs in the extended, but I do feel that for a lot of you with the Page of Cups and the True Love card, love seems to be a big factor, and of course that fits in with the astrology. So let's look at your oracle cards. Door to romance, okay, that's also on theme. Rest and rejuvenation. And the first chakra, okay. And your cards were connection and worthiness. So there is a big theme about love, actually, Pisces. There really is. But it's coming from a sense of worthiness. So with the Five of Pentacles and the King of Swords here, I feel like a lot of you are doubting your contribution to a relationship. You're maybe up against someone who's very book smart, or maybe you're not. Or, you know, maybe it's someone who's very adventurous and you don't feel as adventurous. Or maybe it is, you know, you just feel in some way lacking potentially. With the first chakra card here, Archangel Michael, I think a lot of you really need to get grounded. A lot of you really need to feel centered and have your feet on the earth, be in nature, and really up your confidence with the worthiness card here, because your connections will suffer if you don't like yourself. Your connections will suffer if you start treating yourself badly, because you can't have a healthy relationship of any kind where you undervalue yourself, or even if you undersell yourself. I think for a lot of you there is a lot of bruised ego or hurt from an air sign in the past, is one way that I'm sort of reading this. With the Five of Pentacles and the King of Swords, someone who really was not emotionally there for you, someone who was very promising but was quick to leave. And I feel like a lot of you are kind of you know, there's a lot of people putting their hands near their heart in these cards. I don't know if you can see that, but the Page of Cups here, she's got her hand over her heart, and so does Archangel Michael. And he's holding a sword to protect it. So there's that. But I think for a lot of you, you're coming to relationships with honesty. You've got your hand in your heart, you're telling the truth, but also a lot of you are trying to protect your heart, and you're kind of scared to say how you feel. Now with the Connection card and the Eight of Wands and the Knight of Wands, I do feel that when Venus and Mars link towards the end of the month, although they're not happening in very romantic sides of the sky for you, there is that connection between Jupiter and your 7th house that is making me feel, Pisces, that if you met someone towards the beginning of the year, especially Pisces rising, there is a fruition with it. But your connections in general, I feel that this month there is a big fruition. With the Hierophant, it could actually be a very solid commitment for some of you. And with the True Love card, I feel like a lot of you are starting to understand what is promising in your life, or coincidentally what is not. But with the Rest and Rejuvenation card, I feel that a lot of you have been going through some serious healing and trying to make the most of who you are. You've had a lot of ups and downs career-wise this year, Pisces, with those eclipses. But with the Butterfly card, I really think you need to have faith in how you're turning out. Because one of the things that has been apparent in most of the card readings is the speediness. And it's interesting that Mars is going retrograde, which is often a misunderstood thing in astrology. People think that that just really slows everything down. That's kind of a blasé way to look at it. Really, with the Knight of Wands, Eight of Wands, and the Queen of Wands, is that things are really taking off for you. You know, your ships are coming in, but as it says here, you know, you can't rely on the ships coming in if you've nowhere to dock them, or you've nowhere to unload the cargo. You know, you don't want them to come on the rocks. You don't want them to just show up and sink. That wouldn't be great. So with the Connection card, you need to make sure that you're setting a healthy framework. You know, there's in relationships, there's communication. I see that as being a big deal towards the end of the month. You need to make sure that there's patience, there's honesty, there's love, and there's an ability to be yourself. Because I think with the King of Swords here, I see you having shut down with a lot of people before because they shut you down emotionally. And with the Hierophant and the Three of Wands, particularly as far as your new adventures go, be it in love, be it in romance, be it travel, be it relocation, I think for a lot of you Pisces, it's to do with laying the proper framework. It's to do with having your own traditions as well. I think a lot of you are going into relationships or are setting up traditions in relationships. You know, you could be going into bonds that are very traditional, or you make your own traditions with somebody, or you are with your family, you're making new traditions that are really exciting. But I think for a lot of you, this is coming up as being very loving. You know, the door to romance here. The heart in the cage, but there being a key. So I feel like a lot of you have locked up your heart for a while, and there's someone or something opening it up for the first time in a while, and that can actually be quite painful to open your heart. It can feel like chest pain, but sure, it's leading to somewhere nice. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful September, Pisces. The extended is linked below if you want to join me there, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.